You know you've totally messed up big time when the people who are screwing your country are finally coming out to tell you that your country is on the verge of obliteration. When they take pity on you and start telling you to fight back and to protect your country, then you know pretty well that you have totally screwed up. I just want to say something, and I want to say it real quick. Multiculturalism has failed, and European societies like Britain is proof of that failure. Now, when I say that multiculturalism has failed, I specifically mean that it has failed for the Europeans who foolishly welcomed it into their societies. But for the invaders, it has favored them. It has served its purpose. It has thrived. And I don't call them invaders loosely. When I say invaders, I mean invaders, because on this channel, I say things without mincing words. Now, the truth is that not all immigrants are invaders, but all invaders are immigrants. Now, let me say that a second time for those at the back. All immigrants are not invaders, but all invaders are immigrants. When you have immigrants who come into a country legally and they respect the cultures and the traditions of their host country, and then they assimilate to the culture of this host country, then they are immigrants through and through. But when you see a group of immigrants who come into a country whichever way possible, mostly illegally, mostly claiming to be things that they are not, claiming to be asylum seekers and refugees, sometimes also coming legally, but then they revolt against the culture and the laws of their host country, and then they try to force their own laws or their own cultures or traditions or belief or religion on the people of their host country. They try to turn their host country into their native country, which, by the way, they fled to come into this new country. Then these guys are invaders. They are never ever willing to assimilate. They are only bidding their time until they outnumber the natives. So yeah, when I call them invaders, I have very good reason for doing so. So like I was saying, multiculturalism has failed, but it has worked out perfectly for the invaders. But when these same invaders start to take pity on you and start warning you to take back your country and fight against the erasure of the existence of your own people, then you know that yes, you are utterly and completely screwed. Now, I want us to listen to this Muslim woman living in Britain. Let us hear what she has to say about the condition of Britain and how good old multiculturalism is playing out in the once great Britain. Take a listen.
I think there is a big responsibility of the Muslim community in that, because we have tried to change the British. It is totally different now. It's nothing like Britain before. You know, it's everybody's like doing their own thing and they want to adapt everything. So this country's own culture has disappeared. You know, and I think this is something that needs to come back if we want to be, feeling the important. Because, you know, if the British society changed to other countries' rules and religious expectation and everything, then you cannot expect the Britain, politicians to be British to you.
Yeah. So this is interesting. So you think Britain has been too accommodating almost?
Yes, it is. And I think this multicultural, everything coming into it has made it like the society has changed to everybody's adaptations. Yeah. Like everybody's doing their own thing, schools and everything, they're like having different kind of holidays, everybody's having different kind of their own adaptations. And I think if you go to Tower Hamlets Council and you want to speak to someone about before I would go to council and I would see that they would expect and they understand me, but now they will be like, oh, in your culture it happens, so adapt to it.
Watching this woman talk reminds me of these type of scenarios we see in movies, okay? You see those type of scenarios where it's just like you're watching maybe a horror movie or a kidnap case, and then one of the kidnappers, one of the evil guys, finally grows a conscience and tries to save the victim from his fellow kidnappers or his fellow evil, horrible people. Maybe when nobody is looking, okay, when none of his accomplices are looking, this bad guy with now some kind of good conscience then frees the victim and tells the victim to escape and run away for his or her dear life. This is exactly what this scenario reminds me of, okay? As I watch this woman talk, this is what is flashing through my mind. And yes, I applaud her for her goodwill. And I'm sure that this thing she's saying is going to be getting her a lot of punishment from her people for sounding the alarm for the Europeans. But still, I commend her for speaking up for the truth. So she's calling out her own community. She pointed out that Britain is looking less and less British every single day. And yes, I'm just focusing on Britain today, but the same scenario is unfolding in different parts of Europe. Multiculturalism is dealing with Europe, and we can all see it. There is a big reason why Pakistan looks like this. Homogeneous, truly and utterly Pakistan. But then France looks like this. Now, if you don't tell me that this is Europe, I will never know. Don't you find it crazy how there is no single church building in Saudi Arabia? In fact, it is highly prohibited according to Saudi laws to erect a building in Saudi Arabia and call it a church. The same is seen in places like Somalia. The same goes for Afghanistan and so many other Muslim nations. Yet, these same Muslim guys are seen in Western countries where Westerners have been brainwashed with a fictional idea of a utopia of multiculturalism, building mosques and turning churches into Islamic worship centers. One nation understands the importance of holding onto their beliefs, their cultural identity, but the other is open to erasing themselves, destroying what makes them who they are, and then adopting foreign cultures, foreign practices that is completely alien to their identity. Some people came into your country. They promised to abide by your ways. They promised to assimilate to your ways. Then instead of being loyal to your tenets and to your laws, they turn around and tell you to assimilate to them. And you, being the ever compassionate and ever understanding Westerner, you sheepishly cave in, losing yourself and your identity in the process. Currently, you have British stores being called out for not selling halal products. Instead of these British stores to defend their culture and say, to hell with halal. What the freak is halal in the first place? Go back to where you came from if you are so in love with halal. If you crave halal so much, go back to halal producing countries. Rather, these British stores bend the knee and then they scramble to provide halal products. You have dog owners being harassed and beaten on the streets of Britain for owning a dog, just because so-called newcomers don't like dogs because dogs are haram to their beliefs. You have British holidays like Christmas being snuffed out just because newcomers who were welcomed into British lands, do not agree with Christmas celebrations, but celebrations like Eid is now the talk of the town. You have British lawmakers, politicians, leaders who look nothing like a regular Brit, yet they occupy very important positions in the British society. I remember discussing the issue of that young British schoolgirl who was sent out of a British school during her school's cultural day for wearing a Union Jack decorated dress to her own cultural day. Other students with Indian saris, Pakistani, traditional garb, Jamaican flag clothing, they were all celebrated, okay? But this child and other British students who wore things related to the British identity, to the British heritage, they were shamed and escorted out of the school premises for offending the sensibilities of the other newcomers. Mind you, this is all taking place on British soil. The Brits are now second-class citizens in their own land. The British culture is being shamed into oblivion. If you leave a Union Jack outside your home, you are immediately tagged a racist or an Islamophobe. But if you fly a Pakistani flag or the Palestinian flag outside your home, then you are fine. You are acceptable. This is all a deliberate attempt to strip you off of anything that makes you British. Your culture, your religion, your entire identity. In the coming future, British kids, young British kids, might not even be able to articulate what makes them Brits. They might not even understand their own culture, okay? They might not even be able to relate to their own traditional identity. And those who are aware of their traditional identity might not even have the balls to be proud of it and, kind of express it. they will surely be shamed and bullied and told that they have no culture. And then they will believe it. They will, because sometimes in the past, their weak parents and grandparents sold out their identity all for the promise of good old multiculturalism. We all know this is going to happen unless something is done, and something should be done fast. Unless you heed the words of Aisha, I think that is her name, take her words to heart and ponder over it. Or you can choose to keep welcoming good old multiculturalism into your countries. Anyway, guys, these are my thoughts and my opinions. Please feel free to share yours in the comment section below, but do so respectfully. Also, if you're not yet subscribed to this channel, honestly, I don't know what you're waiting for. Subscribe to the channel. Like and share this video to keep people informed, and consider joining my membership or buying me a coffee if you like, as a way of supporting the channel. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope to catch you on the next one. For now, peace.